Hi everyone. So I wanted to put together a quick video, just spending a few minutes going over um, what happened yesterday. So I was quite happily sitting down, chilling and out, watching Home Alone 2, when there was an order that came on to the docket from Judge Lyman. So this is the order. Um, I've highlighted it to try and make it clear, but so the court has been contacted regarding a dispute between the parties in an ongoing deposition. The court will hold a telephone conference on the matter at 3:25 p.m. today, December 15th, 2025. So the parties and the public may access the hearing. So it was one that was open to the public. However, I sort of like I was quite enjoying my evening, and I've dialed into every single conference. So I thought, well, it's not like a really big point that's being discussed here for me anyway. It's not, like they're talking about the motion for summary judgment or judgment on the pleadings. So I thought, well, there'll be, half a dozen other content creators. They will all post videos on it because they will listen into it. However, I think the other content creators may have had the same thought as me, and we were all wrong because I not that I've been looking, but I've not had anything pop up to say, someone's done a video on that hearing. And when I woke up, I went and had a look at my X and my Instagram, and there was quite a few messages there from people saying, "Do you know what happened?" Because no one's talking about it. So obviously, I didn't listen, so I do not know categorically what was discussed. I will say that. So that's what I'm prefacing. I have an idea based on a filing yesterday, last week. So I'm going to go through that instead. And say, well, this is what I think it's about, but I don't know for sure. It could be something else. And I will have to wait for either someone who did listen to post something or an order to land on the docket. Okay, so we have a letter from Wayfarer. So this was filed on Wednesday last week, and what has happened is they've written to Judge Lyman, and they basically said expert discovery is scheduled to conclude on December 12th. So that was Friday. Due to an illness, one of the Wayfarer party's experts cannot appear for deposition today as scheduled. So their expert was due to sit for deposition last Wednesday. They couldn't do it because they were not very well. And you do have to be in good health when you are sitting for these things. They're under oath. So you have to be kind of fit and well. But also, I mean, if he's not well, he's not well. So they have now it's not as simple as, well, they could have scheduled it by, for Friday, because everyone has to be available. That's not just the expert, and that's not just Wayfarer, that's all the the counsel for the other parties as well, because they all get to ask questions and sit for the depositions. Sit in on the depositions, I should have said. So rearranging to Friday may have been too short notice, because there would have been other depositions going on. Wayfarer may have already had depositions scheduled for Friday with a different expert, and so on and so forth. So what's happened is the parties have got together, essentially. So this will be Wayfarer's counsel, this will be Lively's counsel, this will be Jonesworks counsels, have all come together, and they have met and conferred, and then have agreed that they could make a deposition date of Monday 15th, which was yesterday. So, subject to approval from the court, the parties have agreed that such expert will appear for deposition on December 15th, one business day after the deadline for expert discovery. So, they've written this letter as a request for an extension, one that has been agreed by all the parties, and Judge Lyman has approved it, which he will do, almost always, except for, you know, quite extreme exceptions. He will, if everyone's in agreement, then he'll just agree it, and he has. What I think has happened is something's happened. Maybe the expert was still not well enough to attend the deposition yesterday, and Wayfarer have gone back to Lively and or Jones, and one or both have said, "Well, we're not going to agree another extension." Based on this letter and based on the my judgment and my assessment of the reasonableness of Lively and Jones, I think that's what is likely to have happened. And Wayfarer can't just go and get another expert because the experts have already spent a lot of time looking at documents. They will have already compiled a report. It will be the report that they will be questioned on in the deposition. So it's not a case of, well, we'll just go and get another one. So it's a big deal in many regards. Um, and this is important. So I don't know if it was definitely this, but this is the one issue that was already known about on the docket. Um, and as there's a dispute over an ongoing deposition, that's the wording of the order. This is what I think is happened. Is I think that I think Lively / Jones have basically said to Wayfarer, no, we're not going to agree to another extension. You'll have to go to Lyman and ask for one. So they have, because we're already now over the deadline for expert deposition, Wayfarer have obviously had to contact the court. The court has had to have a hearing that same day to decide, well, to hear out and then decide what happens. It could be that Wayfarer need to change the expert altogether. Maybe the expert is, I mean, we don't, when we say illness, we don't know what kind of illness. It could be something very serious or very acute, which is, more than a cold, and they may need to start from scratch because of that. That's an unforeseeable thing usually. So I would be surprised if Wayfarer were told, well, no, you can't have an extra extension, or no, you can't, replace the expert if the expert is actually going to be indisposed for the foreseeable. I think that would be highly unreasonable, to be honest. I think if Lively and Jones had been approached by Wayfarer and no, I've been told that the expert is still unwell and still unable to attend, and could they agree to another extension, and they've said no, then I think that is highly unreasonable too. So yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say on this. That's pretty much it. The only other thing that happened yesterday, again, there's no information and there's nothing on the docket yet, is there was a hearing yesterday with the magistrate judge to discuss arranging a conference for settlement talks. But again, there is nothing on the docket at the moment that's worth talking about. Just that video conference was held yesterday as well. So when something comes on the docket to tell me more about what was said and what happened, or any orders, then I will feed that back to you guys. But right now, that's all I've got. All right. Have a good day.